What is God? Throughout history, from the ancient Greeks to the ancient Sumerians, humanity has carried this idea of God, right? But is God mentioned in the Upanishads, or is it a later invention? So what is God? We're investigating. I'm not attacking God, nor am I denying God's existence. We're simply trying to understand if there is such a thing as God. Who invented God? Did God create us, or did we create God? God, as traditionally conceived, is omnipotent, omniscient, eternal, merciful, just, and full of goodness, right? That's the concept you have of God. Now, if you say God created us, then we must be part of his image. We are part of him, which would logically make us omniscient, generous, loving, and eternal too, right? But are we really like that, or do we just believe we are? If God created you, he must be an extraordinary being, right? But if he's so extraordinary, why does he want you to live a life full of suffering? If God made you, why are you the way you are? Shouldn't we be extraordinary human beings, full of joy, beauty, enthusiasm, and delight? But the reality seems far different, doesn't it? So either God created you, or you created God. But if we examine this closely, it becomes clear that we have created God. In India, for example, there are about 300,000 gods. Every person has their own local god. So think about this. We have created God. See the irony? Thought creates God, and then thought worships the image it has created. It's like worshiping yourself and calling it God. Do you understand this? We say the best part of us is God. But first, let's be clear. Have you created God? The local gods, whether in Rome, Tirupati, or wherever, they were created by you, weren't they? And why did you do this? Because you are full of fear and uncertainty. Out of fear, you seek security. You want to believe there's someone looking after you. So you create this idea of God and then you worship it. Look at what you're doing. You go to temples and put your money in donation bags. Do you think gods want your money? What do you really have to offer aside from money, garlands, prostrations, and rituals? Nothing else, really. Have you realized the tragedy of this? If you truly loved, not God, because loving God is easy, as God is an abstraction and doesn't have much real meaning. But if you truly loved, that very love would be God. That love would be sacred. You wouldn't need to search for God outside of yourself. And many people ask me, do you believe in God? I don't. Because God is not something created by man. There is such a thing as eternity, something outside of time. But to understand that, you need a mind and a heart completely free from all the burdens of life, free from pride, selfishness, and vanity. Then the question arises, what is atman? Many believe that atman is something within us, the conscience inside us, something eternal, the light of God, something beyond the physical, created not by thought. But believing in this, what difference does it make? If I believe I have a soul, an atman, or something higher, what does it change in my daily life? I'm still confused, lonely, anxious, and in agony. So what's the point of believing in the atman if my life is full of suffering? If I were completely free from all of this, from fear, anxiety, and confusion, then perhaps I could discover whether there is such a thing as atman. But to believe I already possess it without having resolved these issues is childish. Truth cannot be experienced or told. The word God is not God, just as the word tree is not the tree. We can talk about eternity, but the word is not the thing itself. Yet, we are satisfied with words rather than with truth. You love someone with all your heart and mind, but when you try to tell me about that love, all I receive are words. I don't experience the fragrance of that flower. I don't feel what you feel. Words fall short. We have religious leaders, gurus, and spiritual masters. But why do we need leaders? If you realize that you are entirely responsible for yourself, that you are in a jungle and must find your own way, then you will let go of the examples, the books, and the gurus. You will find the strength and vitality to move forward on your own. But the moment you depend on leaders, you become weak. If you realize this deeply, not just intellectually, but in your heart, you will become a free human being, capable of walking firmly on your own path. The truth is simple, but it requires you to take full responsibility for yourself. No one can show you the way. The strength to walk comes from within you, not from beliefs, leaders, or rituals. In the end, the real question is, are you willing to walk alone and discover what is true?